Okay, folks, we will be getting ourselves back into draft. It's game number 2 between RNG and OMG. It is standard draft now, folks, which means we can get ourselves some of those weirder champions again. You know what that means? We could potentially get another game of Rengar, which came through from Tianjin in that first game and came away with an MVP. His first game for the roster looked really, really strong. And now we're getting ourselves through into that first round of bans where, would you believe it, the Rengar is gone.
They get rid of the 3 picks that enabled a lot of that skirmishing. The Ezreal, the LeBlanc, the Rengar. We do not want to play against this style of composition ever again. Thank you very much. On the other side, the Brand still being banned away. The Rumble still being banned away. I wonder whether we see... Was it Lilia first round ban? It was the Graves as well. It was a triple jungle ban. So I wonder whether there's some decision making here. They decide that Tristana is a more valuable ban. That is an insta-lock of a Renekton, though.
Yeah, and remember, you know, Juice has been a strong side top player. RNG have been putting a lot of resources top side just to say, look, Juice, you're playing from ahead of the game. And particularly when you've got a player like Huanfeng on the bot side, he typically likes to play more weak side into utility. It does make sense on a player nameplate standard, but a first pick Renekton, I trust this for Breathe, I trust this for 369, I trust this for a handful of players. I'm not sure I trust it for Juice. It might be enough against OMG, who are another team that have struggled, but this is still quite ballsy considering he lost that individual matchup handedly in game 1.
So they get the Leona. I wonder whether they will be feeling either an AD carry or maybe the jungle ban. I feel like you don't have to lock in a top laner quite yet. You could also look towards a Cassante if you're feeling happy with that matchup again. But they decide, no, we're going to match fire with lightning and lock in the Kennen, of course, because they couldn't ban the Lilia. Cassante doesn't always have the easiest time into that champion, so Geju is very rapidly getting a hold of that as the AP jungler of choice, and I don't think a Corki would surprise us as an AD mid lane companion to that.
Corki is very stable. It gives you a lot of really good wave push, so the Angel is going to have to go on something a little bit different, and we'll see whether that is something which can explode the lane in the same kind of way. It's going to be the Lucian mid. So Lucian going up against that Corki, it is something which does have decent lane presence. We're seeing it more and more. The first person to pull it out was Yokai from Ultra Prime. We saw it from Chovy over in the LCK. We've seen it from a number of different players. Knight played a game of it too.
Shanks
I have to say, even though we've seen some of the very best mid laners in the world play it right now, I don't think it's been fantastic. It is there basically just to say, I'm going to have presence in early lane and be an AD mid to unlock some AP elsewhere on the map. It's not really something which I've loved so far, though.
Yeah, interesting to note. We kind of called it out briefly in the last game that, oh yeah, haha, misfortune rising in priority. Seeing it get banned away here, though, is definitely a bit of an eyebrow raise. Of course, it is actually historically a really good combo with Lilia because your ultimate does not unlock the Lilia sleep. You sleep through the bullet time, which can be really rough.
Yeah, that one is, that one's kind of rough. That one's dreaming of gunfights, that one is. Maybe gunfight dream. I don't know. There's like some really cool
sleepy bullet time, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you could do with that.
The permanent sleep of bullets, yeah.
Starry is going to have a lot of his more mobile champions removed now, though, which is quite interesting because you can see that Ezreal, Zeri, and Kai'Sa all removed. It means that if OMG go very fast forwards, it's quite hard for Starry to follow up. Wonder if they're going to leave AD carry till last pick now to see what the enemy bot lane is, so at least you can win laning phase. You've got the Sejuani coming through. You have a good combo up with Leona, because Leona Sejuani very quick at comboing through those melee range auto attacks, and still very good at pinning someone down in front of that Lucian and Kennen to kill them.
Yeah, Kennen from a flank, Leona from a flank could get really tricky, of course. Don't love the individual matchup in the jungle. The Lilia can be really annoying, especially once you get things like Zhonya's to mean your ultimate, a Ryalize or whatever as well to slow you down. It can be a pretty rough time in terms of holding onto your farm and your jungle. They'll lock in the Ziggs as well. Another good combo with the Lilia. You make someone fall asleep and you throw a giant bomb down on top of them. The two most psychopathic Yordles in terms of explosives locked in. We won't talk about Teemo. He's his own special category of concerning, but I like the Nautilus as well.
I like to think that Omega Squad Teemo is just base Teemo.
Just with the veneer taken away. Yeah,
that's the one. And it's Sivir locked in last. Sorry. Okay, so we said, hey, a lot of these AD carries that have been banned, they follow up really well on aggressive engages. The Sivir is the original champion for doing that. You press the ult and everyone runs faster and you can run faster with them. So the fact that Starry's gone towards that, it helps you against that laning phase 2. You can spell shield through a lot of what the Nautilus and the Ziggs want to do. Spell shielding, all of it can be a problem, but at least for early lane, it can very much help. OMG, aggressive front foot composition again. However, if you do get caught out by a Lilia Swirl Seed or by a good hook, I do think that Lilia and the Ziggs will one-shot the first target into the play. The actual carries from OMG are much squishier than they were in that last game.
Yeah, I don't like OMG's comp on the back foot, if you see what I mean. If they get to go forward, if they get to make the flanks, it's really nice, but otherwise it gets really dicey.
And you know what? I think you've really cut to the heart of that matter. I think this game is who gets to be aggressive most effectively first. Now, you can slap back sometimes, but whoever gets that first foot into the door in a big team fight, in a skirmish is probably landing all the damage after that point, which is exactly what I want to see. OMG, RNG, it is a historical matchup laced with blood and skirmishes and scrappy bare-knuckle fighting. They have both fallen on hard times. They're here in the Nirvana group, the Alice in Chains group, the Soundgarden group, the Grunge group, whatever you want to call it. And it has been now a series which is going to really have to come down to the execution in team fights.
We've come a long way from Royal Club and OMG having a mid laner called Cool. Here we are many years later, 11 odd years later, going on to the Rift here. Down at the bottom of the standings, down in the Nirvana group, trying to prove they can be a little bit more important than just that. Fans of both teams, still very loud, of course. They are long-standing organizations with a lot of fans to their names. I think OMG last year looked like they might be something special. They might be able to make it to Worlds and just couldn't quite make it work across playoffs. Their playstyle just a little bit too narrow, perhaps, despite the entertainment value of it all. And some of those players have gone on to do great and wonderful things. Shout out to Cream having a really good showing over on Top Esports at the minute in particular. But, you know, the likes of Shanji and Aki were pretty special players in and of themselves.
That's a great conversation. I would love to follow up on that. I've just been laughing at the fact that we have 6 teleports again in the game.
Oh my god, we do!
So, folks, if anyone has seen the recent patch preview on Reddit, we were talking, I was looking at chat as well earlier, when it was like, wait, there's another nerf to teleport? Folks, we're still getting 6 teleports a game. If you think that's okay, this is why we're getting this stuff, folks. No one cares for combat summoners. You just got to get zip-zap zooming around the map.
That is just ridiculous. Anytime anyone sneezes, there'll be 3 people immediately pressing teleport. It's absolutely wild, and of course you understand why, particularly for things like Kennen, you want the teleport, but the fact we're seeing it on double AD carries, kind of wild.
Yeah, that's something. So what it does mean is that your laning phases, it's harder to blow them out in really concise fashion. See that Angel started the key level 1, and the problem is Frost Bomb is also really nasty as a level 1 trading tool, but Tenyu and Angel, both playing the AD carry versus AD carry matchup. You only really see Lucian when you don't have another AD carry to play in mid lane. It's fine, but it just isn't as easy to play, and it's not got as much reward as something like that Tristana or the Corki, but it still means you have an AD carry in that mid lane, which is the go-to right now.
You know, I'm thinking about teleport right now. We've got a bit of a slower, start. Angel hits level 2, and the trades back with the Gatling gun feel pretty good. In fact, Angel is going to be fine. He gets a little bit of an auto trade back. But anyway, what I'm about to say is, I wonder whether balancing teleport might end up being reliant on skirmishes not happening. I just, you know, we'll have an extended
talk about teleport.
Yeah, I keep looking around. Someone's hitting a skill shot, and I get like, well, do I have to talk about that?
Talk about teleport.
But yeah, what I'm saying is, I wonder whether actually one of the ways to balance teleport might be to have the cooldown dependent on whether you've gotten involved with kills, so you can't just use it to go towards a side lane. So you just have a really extended teleport, and then getting involved with kills within a time frame of using TP lowers the cooldown slightly.
Oh, so it's like a partial reset, but only if you get a kill after a teleport.
Yeah.
Now, I like that quite a lot.
That might be a way of balancing it slightly.
This is the kill participation almost in that mid lane. You know what? I hadn't thought about that before. Sam, by the way, folks, Sam did a bit of studying with games design before, in case you didn't realize. I did too, but he's the one that went on to do.
Took me a while to get to the point, in fairness.
Yeah. So, by the way, Sam does in fact have a master's in games design, so occasionally I do pay attention to what he's talking about. But yeah, that could be really interesting, because the problem with teleport is it ends up making the game less important about your actual laning mechanics, which is where a lot of people enjoy playing the game, and it's where a lot of your skill expression in the lane comes through. Angel, he might be getting sent back to away from this lane. Flash out of Tenyu.
It's the flash out. Angel down very low himself, but that has been a mid lane where both have been willing to stare each other in the eyes and go for that guns at noon style play. No one's landed the killing blow quite yet, but The health bars being a little low is a bit dicey. Fleet footwork keeping Tango just that slight bit healthier.
Yeah, fleet footwork in these kind of lanes can be a real lifesaver. Also, because both these AD carries go for absorb life, it means that when you get yourself one of those minion kills, it's on a, what, a 20-second cooldown, so every wave, therefore, you get yourself an extra bit of HP. So if you get fleet footwork a couple of times every wave, and then you also get that absorb life, you do get a lot more sustain than you would like. That's some skills missing. That might lead to the all-in.
Lands the boomerang blade afterwards, trying to throw some autos down. The reset with the ricochet can start to bounce a little bit more damage behind us. A fantastic use of the satchel does some work, but it doesn't really change all that much despite it looking stylish.
And so, remember, folks, this was a last pick Sivir, and it was there to just say, okay, we can win the lane. Juice gets tagged up by that. Wait, that's the lightning rush, isn't it? It's Spark Surge is the Zeri one.
I think I said Lightning Rush last game.
Yeah.
But I have to second guess myself every time because they sound quite similar in terms of what they do.
Because the thing is that I remember the last game we were talking about the Zeri saying, oh, when's that Lightning Rush going to be back? And I'm like, you know what? That sounds like an ability Zeri has. I'm going to trust you. And then I see the Ken in this game and I think,
yeah, you are absolutely right.
You lied to me.
I did, yeah, no, I did that one. It was Spark Surge is Zeri E, not Lightning
Angel.
Rush.
I love how he's doing this, holding onto his E.
Too.
And just using it there. God damn, just so ballsy in this mid lane. Angel has had a good run in this mid lane for this year. Angel walked away with 3rd All-Pro MVP in spring. Subbed out in a series in summer, but largely has been OMG's best player. Pulls up the Lucian, which can be difficult to play in that mid lane against the top string, but gets something there.
Oh, that's annoying.
Imagine if he got dragged out to the base plate. That would have been really funny.
I will know that Huan Feng was still there, so I think if he had interrupted that back, it might actually have been awful. So, you know what? I think he's okay with that one not quite working out.
It's like when you throw a Silas E, hoping... you just throw it out randomly, and you hit someone on the tower, and you immediately have to flash out.
It's like, oh no, why have I done this?
We've seen that once or twice. In fact, Geju gets that. Okay, alright, Geju, he got kind of bullied around in that first game. He needs something good going for himself.
Look, all I'm saying is, we all know what Lilia W stands for, Alex. Watch out, EEP. EEP is an acronym.
Yeah, what is it for?
It's for eviscerates enemy poultry. Occasionally players, depending on the stage of the game.
Can you tell we're English?
I know, right?
Eviscerates enemy poultry.
Yes, quite.
Well, it's also getting rid of some of these void grubs. Also getting ourselves through to the grubs taking as well. Aren't we looking for a fight, potentially?
Well, the Dread Side lands. Iwandi will land that one. PP throws down the Eclipse. That hasn't really managed to proc the Aftershock quite yet. That Blooming Blow's being shy. Does mean there's no additional slow. PP gets to walk away, holds his nerve, does not press flash.
But it's still going to be a chunk away from him, and Grub's still going over to the side of RNG. RNG didn't cross-map with the Dragon. It feels like RNG have been really focusing on laning phase. They've been focusing on Angel, trying to get these big trades against Tanya, and Harry trying to get a CS advantage at top side, which he has done. The fact that they go towards Grubs, don't find a fight, and then they also call Starry away from bot lane, so he loses some farm. It's not great from OMG. RNG on the other side, you know, they've been doing fine in terms of this Ziggs combo. It's now coming online. You're getting level 6 coming through. Juice pulling the ultimate just so he is safe to push in this wave. See that Harry has really taken him to task up in this top side in both games so far.
Playing pretty well there in terms of that laning phase. At least Juice hasn't died this time, still staying even enough in the farm. I think we'll have Merc Treads on this back here as well. He's already got the Null Magic Mantle in inventory, and that is completed. Alongside a sword for a little bit more DPS. Does always feel nice on the Renekton. The problem I'm going to note here is that Chen is still about a quadrant away of farm from level 6. And that might well allow this Lilia, who's already hit that marker, to start up this Dragon and try and get both of those early objectives, which, as we know from top esports, is a really bad thing to be giving up.
See Tanya in that. I love this mid lane matchup in a lot of it. So I can sometimes, I can take a leave Tristana Corki sometimes. I do really like Lucian matchups when you have dashes involved, because you can, in this case, we saw the Valkyrie getting away from the piercing light. We also see Angel like dashing out of the Frost Bomb multiple times. It's quite a fun mid lane matchup in regards to the mechanics of it. We don't see that many mechanically intensive mid lane 1v1s anymore, so I'm happy to at least see something there. Mid lane Lucian in the past was really quite obnoxious. The fact that he can kind of come back in more limited spaces like this, but still be okay, I like that a little bit more, because he's not just running every laning phase now.
Note here as well that despite the initial look in from RNG, they decide against starting the Dragon. OMG will now start it up at level 6 on Tianjin, means they've got ultimates apiece on the junglers, and I think we might be seeing a contest.
We are Tenuan on the flank. Where's PP God going? Where's Iwandi going? The hook's going wide.
Oh, flash away, but it means that someone else gets hit with the ultimate! Oh, Iwandi, you put your jungler out to dry.
Well, someone was getting hit by it, and Iwandi says it's not going to be me. He flashes away, but leaves his jungle for dead, and now he doesn't have the flash. PP God is going to try and minion block him. Does Minefield try to buy some space?
Shield of Daybreak's done come through, but it's still buffered out of with that dredge line out. The exhaust meant Starry couldn't keep up for a moment, despite the on the hunt as well.
I really hope we get a replay of that, because I need to see a slow-mo, oh no, that kind of moment. As we do see OMG walk away with the dragon, get that first blood as well onto the Lucian, and Angel, he has been playing out this Lucian laning phase fairly effectively. We've said that a lot of good mid lane players, they've not necessarily taken away from this, folks. Who remembers that one scene from the Dark Knight Rises? Iwandi sees the skill shot coming at him. They expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. Iwandi gets out, and it's Geju who's found in the plane crash afterwards. The jungler thrown under the plane.
Geju's like, I'm fine, right? No, I'm not. My tank has decided this is not for me.
It's just not just hear the Nautilus voice. No one cared who I was till I picked up the anchor.
Venison for breakfast, boys.
Geju still has flash though, because he didn't end up using it in that last fight. It feels a little bit bad around that last fight. You maybe thought that Iwandi could have just put, well, he'd used the hook, sadly.
Yeah.
As soon as that Nautilus hook goes wide and it doesn't even hit terrain, it's on a longer cooldown, you're just out of a lot of abilities to easily start up that fight. And Iwandi puts his jungle into a very, very difficult spot. RNG, they do still have themselves the first 3 grubs spawn. They do have flash on Geju. If he can get himself a flash Q to get a big lilting lullaby, that could be all they need around this next play. See that OMG, they are on top side. I feel like RNG would really need to get these grubs. That would give them such a big win condition.
And it's also worth noting, we were saying, look, the team that gets that initial front forward is unlikely to give it up. We said that's likely going to be the way of the game. RNG starting up the grubs. They'd love to get that 6 marker. Lilia on them, gets a hold of one. The Zenith Blade goes wide, teleport flashing on in as a flash ball from BB gets again onto the Lilia. The slicing maelstrom after ensures the death of the jungler.
Geju has been made into little stakes at this point, and sadly, for RNG, they can't use that flash Lilia around these team fights. OMG, I love the way that PP God is playing this. PP God has been a historic Leona player.
Yeah.
And I really think that this guy has really been good at choosing the right targets to make sure that they can't impact the team fights.
I mean, serious credit over, right? The Zenith Blade misses and he goes, never mind, I'll just R-flash W instead.
Oh, well, OMG. They are onto the board well and truly beyond this point. Iwandi, Juice, they're trying to buy some space, but guys, someone has to stop the Leona going forwards. I think Juice and Iwandi, they throw Geju under the bus again. You need to be making sure this Lilia can have a clean team fight. It is a team game, making sure the AP jungler can get into the fight. The fact that Juice and Iwandi can't buy him the safety, big problem.
Harry, unlikely to be able to stand here to defend this for that freely. See the Nautilus coming up, so this would be a 3v1, no slicing maelstrom available. Harry, I don't know about this one, mate. Gonna stand there, lots of damage onto Juice, but already at a turret aggro and just falls apart.
And that is a very, very dead lightning rat in the top side. OMG, that's kind of a bit of a problem for them, because of course now it's going to leave this turret and top side for the taking for RNG. Maybe means that Tanyuan can bring himself back up to item gold parity with his other mid laner, with this first turret almost certainly going to do so. OMG now getting themselves ahead in gold after all said and done.
And we do know that the changes towards first turret giving over so much gold feels pretty good for RNG, who had a couple sequences go against them. They get the kill, they get the turret plates, it goes on to a great member in terms of the Corki, who's resetting on Vision. Ultimate not available, but Geju now left alone, because they thought they were catching up one member, they're going to catch out another instead. Flash on forward, gets the passive proc, can still wait on the ultimate, looking to throw it down at some point as PP God comes on up. Where is the rest of the teams? Iwandi going to be trading up with Starry. Now there's going to be some damage coming on through as the ultimate comes flying across. Geju gets a hold of Tianjin, who stays alive with a little bit of the healing. Harry over the wall, onto Huan Fong, who's got nowhere to go. Lightning Rat, not quite dead. They're so low. Boomerang Blade gets to work for Harry now in a 1v3. He's too deep. What am I witnessing? It is certainly entertaining, but I'm not sure I'll call it quality.
Yeah, Sum 41 wrote a song specifically for situations like this. They're in too deep, and it really doesn't stop there. OMG, they try and find themselves another angle onto Lilia, but they just overextend in that side lane. RNG, they finally get themselves that Ziggs combo online, and as we saw, they're starting to get more options across the map. Yes, we saw the recall come through, the Corki's not there, but Lilia is not a easy champion to run down. If you hard CC them, yes, that's great, but they already bought so much time with the movement speed from the Blooming Blows. Geju manages to get himself to a huge point of power. Harry uses his flash and his ult at the back end of this too, which means he doesn't have it for the back end of this fight. Harry just had to leave at this point. Just take the one and go.
Man, all of those rocket belt missiles go into the wall as well because Juan flashes over. That might have been an easier kill, and suddenly it all goes a little awry. I think it's fair to say in the gold lead now still in RNG's favor after the top lane tier 1, and it is a lot closer affair, yes. I think it's fair to say.
OMG, they don't have quite as proficient a skirmish comp as they did in that last game, where I think that the Renekton and the Rengar and the LeBlanc were very, very good at using just their basic abilities and flitting around the edge of the fights. That gave them a lot of value, and I think that RNG this time, they're playing much better around kind of getting Corki gold. I think Corki's going to be a big factor in this game, which couldn't quite manage to be the case in that last one. And now we're getting ourselves to the point, OMG have 2 dragons. They'll have to use that to try and bring RNG to the big team fights where hopefully they can succeed again.
They are in a great position right now to do exactly that. Certainly down the 2 dragons, which kind of sucks, but Herald on the other side with enough grubs here to make this mid lane tier 1 theoretically a trivial experience to take down, as Tianzhen will try and invade on the other side, or at least steal away a red buff.
And now we got the Herald coming in from RNG. That was the hard-won prize after that last skirmish. And topside, wave players coming through. Will it save the turret? Angel's gonna get cancelled.
He is. That means that's going to be a bit of a mess as the ultimates are beginning to fly. No option to satchel charge the turret quite yet. Damage onto Wonfong, though, means he goes down. Likely gonna be the 1-for-1. Harry goes on forwards. Can't quite get as much damage as hoping. Some flashes and some dashes away, makes some damage come back. Still, Iwandi falls. PP God going on forwards. A Valkyrie from the Corki will secure a kill in favor of Geju, who gets that one. The turret will surely fall afterwards. Angel survived, but they will not be there in the fight in mid lane, and the turret falls despite the mess that OMG made.
And Starry just doesn't have the items yet to clear through the ricochets. RNG, they get themselves a lot of territory on the map. The mid lane outer turret, we continually talk about this as being the most important tower you can take in the game. As soon as that goes down, it opens up options to go into the enemy jungle and position around objectives. They get themselves a lot of gold onto the Corki, who is already getting a lot of gold from side lanes. Yeah, OMG, they try and skirmish their way again, get themselves a really good Leona engage, but they don't have the Lucian teleporting in. Angel teleports in a spot where he's able to get cancelled from, and sadly, Harry also doesn't have that flash in the last play too. Barely inches away from getting a multi-man cannon stun onto everyone. Can't quite manage to get that down.
Just enough damage with the red buff to get an additional kill there. Otherwise, it would have been a much more even affair. I think especially after Juanfong got caught, I thought OMG were looking pretty good there, but they can't quite follow up. The Lilting Lullaby is good enough to stall out a couple members, and Tang Yuan stays alive. Now he's down towards the bot lane, final outer turret remaining, likely going to be falling in RNG's favor, and that gold will balloon now to more like that 3,000 mark.
And I think particularly it's just all this gold going into Corki, which is a huge issue. Corki's going to have a great time doing damage to Tianzhen and PP God. It is going to be just Corki exploding the front line. It's not a full physical damage composition this time. You can't just build towards armor on your big tanks, and when you've got that Ziggs, it can really help you blow someone up as well. Harry just going to wave clear.
Gets enough of the wave, but not enough to get anyone with turret aggro, so the wave is gone. And the damage onto the enemy laners is relatively limited. Juice will pre-ult here to try and make sure he's got rage to play with. Angel taking a little bit of damage, but the damage back is brutal! They'll throw down the Mega Inferno bomb, but it is only a single gun salute to the fall of the top laner.
It's going to also be an inner turret taken by RNG, so again, it is currently kill for inner turret. They're probably getting an outer turret, I suppose, on the next wave. Angel should be able to stick around for that one. RNG doing much better in the macro department than in that last game. They feel so much more confident, I think, about going forwards with such a powerful Corki and the Ziggs combo.
And that turret will fall as well. 2 inner turrets fall in the blink of an eye. And yes, OMG kill off Juice. They're trying to cross map. But the speed at which RNG can rotate right now through the enemy jungle is just hard to match.
So, RNG, gold lead this time. OMG, great skirmish composition from that first game. They snowballed it over to a win, but it feels like they are overforcing just a little bit at times now. RNG, they have the gold in hand. That means if you overforce into them, things gets a lot more difficult. I think particularly Tenuem on the Corki, so good at consistently dealing damage. This is why you pick these AD carry mids, really. You allow them to go into side lanes, pick up gold, and they consistently carry the game after that, whilst also remaining safe. Geju's going forwards, and this is
pretty
jungle
scary.
Support just left alone. They've got to die here, surely.
Still Lilting Lullaby, can't quite get into the bush. The Solar Flare afterwards is solid, but PP got hit with the Dread Tide, likely to fall down, and there's no one here yet. They wanted to set up for the dragon, but they're in way too deep.
Yeah, that song just keeps coming back to play in the background, doesn't it? OMG, they had the jungle support way too deep into the enemy jungle. No carries nearby to start following up, and once you get those more split fights, Lilia, Nautilus, Ziggs, they have so much ability to run forwards or follow up with long-range skill shots that it's really, really hard to get a safe retreat. Angel has his teleport coming back up. He might use that to get some topside pressure, but it really does feel like OMG are just behind on the macro again.
I get why they were a little late on the resets, because it was second items for both AD carries. You knew you wanted that for the Dragon fight, don't get me wrong, but it means that then if you're trying to contest a vision around Dragon with just the 2 members, that's fine if it's, you know, not just before Dragon spawns, when you're expecting the whole of RNG to be looking around that part of the map, and they got punished really fast.
Yeah, they really are just that budget knockoff Aquaman from the boys. They were just deep. It was too far. OMG, now they're looking to see if they can get themselves on the Dragon again. The hook misses, and RNG trying to see if they can find themselves another pick.
Tangman with all this gold, that make him the leader of the RNG 7 here, trying to be throwing laser eyes at people. Do what he wants in this game.
Landler. Tanyu and Lander. It doesn't work quite. Look, it's not quite as easy.
Queen Maeve. Got a bullet and becomes vaguely bulletproof.
It has been. Look, I haven't caught up on the recent stuff.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. I would be lying if it was said to catch up on that one. Dragon's still alive. RNG. They have their ultimates coming back up. They don't have the Lilting Lullaby just yet, but as you can see right there, the timer is on. OMG would very much like to not be caught out by that one again. Gerju really making his mark in this game too.
Starry Light will have to do some damage in this team fight to make it work. They're going to go on forward. Big culling. First one from Angel. I went just about alive. And on the other side, PP God still falls, so it'll still be the one trade for RNG.
And it's still big ultimates thrown in from OMG. They just can't kill that first target, whereas, what were we saying? That Corki, consistent damage, so easy to put down, and RNG very, very happy to be playing through these long-range, safe, scaling carries. It's working out so effectively for them, and OMG feels like they've just overforced a couple too many times, and now it feels like they're falling behind in very important aspects. We do have 2 items in Star, we do have 2 items in Angel, but they are really pale in comparison to the power spikes of that Corki and the Ziggs.
In a tricky position there, you saw Iwandi nearly fell, but didn't, which of course is the key part there, which meant that even then, if they'd gone 1-for-1, it might have been an ability to play, but didn't come out. The kill goes over, and RNG stopped the Dragon stacking. Would have been sole point for RNG. Now the gold lead. Only 3,000, but still normal at this point in the game. The bigger issue is just the map control. 5 turrets to 2 is hard to come back from when we said, look, the ability to go forwards is a lot of what we want from both of these comps. Easier to do when you have control of the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoever gets to be more effective on that front foot, typically is the one which does it first. But OMG, now they're getting to the point where they can't even kill the first target. Iwandi's living through an awful lot. We don't have big armor pen items from Angel and Story. I guess you don't need them as much in this kind of game because it's less tanky, but still, just getting through the second item from Iwandi as it comes in can be really important. This is an overextension now from RNG, but they still have flashes, they still have satchel charges, and that's going to be an ult from Starry and PP God for nothing.
Still get those summoners, I guess, and might be an opportunity to punish that, considering it'll be still down at the next Dragon fight. Baron alive might be considered a consideration here from RNG. They do have control of the pit, but of course the speed shrine isn't contestable, so there will be still some knowledge here from OMG about what's going on. The jungle though, very dark.
So, Harry, he has himself a teleport, a flash, and an ultimate. Can he do anything with that? Currently he's on bot lane, and we're going in. There's the teleport!
Gets a good Valkyrie up. Tangman still tanked up the ultimate. Harry on a flank, still in dangerous position. Iwandi though, falls on the other side because Tangman had to leave. Juice teleporting in. Rocket Belt over from Harry. Juice down very low. The culling afterwards is good. QSS on the Lilting Lullaby will force Juice to flash. An ultimate from Huanfeng will force the E away from the Lucian, but still OMG come out on top in that skirmish.
Yeah, they get one down. What are the big cooldowns that RNG can use at this point? You have, what, a flash on Gerju, and of course the Corki is really strong. I wonder if OMG could go towards the Baron. Gerju's overstayed, and now he might just get caught, but he has...
fast.
Okay, he has Blitz, he has the Blooming Blows. I thought he'd been caught out at that point. Now suddenly OMG, I felt like they had an option to go towards that Baron. They try to catch the jungler, can't manage that, and they leave with just the one kill. Considering they commit the cannon teleport for that, that's not the biggest return on the investment.
Still, they do get a kill on Tanguyen. They do manage to get the summoner trade on a couple other members, so there is that at least.
So Tanguyen, just going a little bit too far forwards. They hadn't quite managed to clear the vision behind them. Great ult from Tianjin. Manages to thread the needle there, get past the Nautilus and onto the Corki instead. Means that Tanguyen can't just sit and return damage. I think if the Corki's sitting and DPSing, this fight's very different, but couldn't really find himself in that position. I wonder whether Harry could have stuck around and given himself a bit more of a chance to get that big team fight winning ult. The fact that Juice goes out alive from that changes things a little bit. He doesn't have that flash and teleport himself now. Maybe Harry just wants to save that flash for as long as possible, but we have seen before that Harry has been on the cannon and held on too long waiting for the perfect at the cost of just good in terms of these big team fight flank combos.
Didn't misspeak error, of course, it was Iwandi that got caught. Tanguy nearly got caught, but was able to escape nonetheless, so I apologize. But either way, still good to see OMG playing with the ability to come back into this game. 3,000 gold is notable, but not game-ending. At least they have got gold on Angel and Starry to try and trade back. Mostly on the likes of Geju, who's got a bit more of a significant lead. Of course, Tanguy also very scary on this board, don't get me wrong.
Mind that, earlier into the game, Geju was the main target from OMG. When you're playing something like that Lilia, the reason we haven't seen as much Lilia is that it's harder to play. That ult misses there, going forwards anyway.
No ultimate or no flash available from one point means the slow is enough.
It can be so punishing playing against that Civiv. So much follow-up, can't survive, no flash. OMG open up the mid lane. This might be exactly what they needed.
Goes over the wall, does throw down the ultimate, get stunned up. Sejuani passive is in. Harry on a flank, Angel just about alive. Getting some blooming blows, the Lilting Lullaby coming on down as a flash over the wall, keep one alive. PP God in danger, will likely be traded out.
It's a bit too far again from OMG. They go on to Juice, but he has the Sterix, so hard to kill. Now, we do have teleports from OMG, but can they survive to the point where they could actually recall and get a teleport back in? Angel needs to get out ASAP because the dragon is spawning right now. Huanfeng gets to get himself back out. Yes, Tianjin has Warmogs. Angel doesn't. He needs to get that teleport back in, and he will do so soon. OMG used a lot of ultimates in the follow-up to this. I wonder if RNG just walk away with the dragon for free now.
They're going to think about heading towards Baron. There's some pings on it. They are debating heading straight over there. As the dragon being started here by RNG on spawn.
If they do, they're walking over Vision, so will be spotted out by RNG. They'll quickly take that dragon. That's going to be easily taken. OMG might set up for the Baron, but I don't think they're going to be able to immediately burn it down. They're not on it quick enough, which means that RNG, they're now suddenly sat there with Ziggs ult back up, with Iwandi, with Flash being able to maybe pin them into the pit as well. They're going to get themselves a Scuttle Crab, maybe some of that vision taken away, but they haven't taken away all of it. They get that right now. That'll help the Void Scuttle helping with that, but OMG still lose the dragon in the grand scheme of things.
See all of those pings. They knew what they wanted to do, but there wasn't really the ability to do it on a decent time frame. And now RNG coming in to try and take away the vision that OMG just put down.
Huge item breakpoint. Starry just got an Infinity Edge. That might be what they need. It's not that tanky a composition from RNG. No. They don't have big armor builders. They have some HP in there, but the problem is now, with the double move speed, Iwandi's got Flash. I was wondering if there was going to be an ult pull by Tianjin there, but no, not the case. But Starry, I wonder if he'll be able to kill the backline through the front line now with the Ricochet if RNG got to position poorly. OMG, next time that Civ is Sejuani, you're in a good position to catch someone out, you have to imagine that someone is blowing a flash, dying, or having to turn and fight.
Feels like particularly against the Ziggs, who's normally able to stay pretty safe by just jumping away, by playing at such a long range. Sivir is so good at punishing that. Could prove problematic. Baron in the dark. Angel going top lane. Not started quite yet as PP guard backing away. You can see RNG were a little bit nervous with the lack of vision.
Yeah, they're trying to pull RNG towards the Baron pit so they're not focusing on all the other lanes at the same time. They're trying to hold RNG to account. You can see that Juice has teleport. Harry has his teleport too. Of course, they both blew it in that topside skirmish we saw just a little while ago. RNG, if they manage to get another good fight from Geju, I think this game ends in their favor. They need to not get caught out. RNG, again, just forcing into the fog of war. RNG continually need to be paying attention to this. They don't spot it again. They might have just let it go once more. The two-man Baron from OMG, it's going down.
It's down to half HP. I think it's too late. Look where the Lilia is. She's over by her red buff.
She's over by a red buff, and they don't have the vision. They can check with something like the Ziggs ultimate. It might have to be that at the case. Huanfeng is going to pull it now. It's gone. Snuck from the fog of war. OMG use their vision denial to get themselves a Baron.
Huge moment there, and the camera pans over to Goji going, what are you doing down there? RNG thought they had a moment of relative calm on the map, and they did not. OMG, with some smoke and some daggers, bring down the Baron in the top lane river.
Look, a lot of teams would sit there around the Baron and say, look, we'll bait this once, but we won't do it again. There is absolutely valuable multiple, kind of like in doing that multiple times. Now, suddenly you're going to have that Baron buff, which allows OMG to keep pushing up, get through the Ziggs wave clear. Juice has ult and flash, and he has Sterix. It's hard to force onto him. It's not really the primary target. If you can catch someone like that Ziggs, of course, it's a very different story. Geju walking forwards, getting some damage down.
Jumped on himself, and that's way too far from the Lilia.
Geju caught out, and the Lilia put down into the ground. OMG with the Baron buff. This could be exactly what they need. No Lilia to force a counter engage. They can push in for multiple turrets now.
Juice only gets the spell shield from the Sivir as well, which is always a bit rough because she heals and gets attack speed from that these days. It's really obnoxious. And now with Baron, with a member dead, they can really put the screws on these remaining turrets.
Yeah, the wave clear just becomes that much more difficult, right? You've got one turret at least falling somewhere. It's very hard for RNG to defend without that threat of a counter engage, which so much of that is the Lilia. And now suddenly you're going to get this point where OMG get to run all over the map before the next dragon spawns as well. So much extra gold. They retake the gold lead for the first time in quite a long time. And OMG very, very happy with the pick that they somehow found onto Geju. He had Merc Treads, he had a Zhonya's. It was hard to find him in the ideal position, but they still managed to do it because Geju just walks out of the fog of war right into their lap.
Dragon will spawn in a minute and a half, and I feel that might be the deciding fight. The problem for RNG is the lead they had isn't there anymore. It will be at best an even fight, and I'm now looking at 3 items on a Sivir, 3 items on a Lucian, and we've already said it's been tricky for Huanfeng to stay alive versus the ability to run so fast at the Bobber, who normally wants to stay 2 screens away at most. Oh, it's so tricky. 4th item on Tianyuan, he probably has to be a lot of the damage in this fight, and the Lilia needs to stay alive.
The problem is now, when it gets to about 4 items, I think I favor the Sivir in terms of damage output. Especially when it's not against hyper tanks, you have HP builders, but as we said, there's a bit of armor now on Juice, but it doesn't feel like it's enough. OMG, they have their big ultimates up available again. Harry just got a death cap, a nice hat, and he might just teleport behind them. Here he comes!
Go, Tianjin is so tanky. Juice already down to about 20% HP. Phoebe goes on in! Slicing Maelstrom, a category 5 disaster for RNG. It's a storm of the century, and OMG were praying for it. They find themselves to kill Tanyuan running as far as he can. Oh, the huge manatee falls down. Teleports in, they're ending the game right here, right now. It'll be an OMG 2-0.
Royal might never give up, but how can you keep fighting when you're not even on your feet? OMG, they bring in a new jungler and they bring themselves to new pastures, at least in their first series. In the Grunge group, in Nirvana, they take down the Nexus.
RNG rolled for a better game too. Unfortunately, it comes up Snake Eyes. OMG 2-0. They are the better team on the day.
RNG, they would have liked their roster changes to be the difference maker. They've subbed out Ming and Wei, 2 legendary players. Juice also coming into the roster too, but it just feels like RNG, they are just flitting between different kinds of troubles. They were largely out macro today, and sadly for Geju, I think he'll look at this series as one which was a bit of a weak series from him. I think that is, a lot of it wasn't necessarily his fault. No. Some of it definitely was. Getting picked at the end of the game there, absolutely something which you have to expect more from a player coming into the standard of LPL and what it demands. OMG, they walk away with the series.
And I think on the other side for OMG, players who we'd had a couple questions about, particularly the likes of Angel, who'd been subbed out, maybe wasn't the level we'd seen from in spring. Really good series on 2 very different picks, the LeBlanc and the Lucian. You're looking at Harry, again, solid series. I think the Kennen game wasn't as clean as the first one, but was still able to pilot that Kennen into some scary positions. And PP God as well, another player who at one point was really, really well beloved in the league. Was a bit of a meme, but was such a character, such a player on top of that, on the Leona, consistently looking for those engages and landing them. That's a much higher level from OMG than we've seen over the last couple weeks.
So folks, welcome back to our faces. Hello, I'm Alex, also known as Nymaera. This is Sam, also known as Initialise. We're brothers, and we cast the LPL together on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays when there's no official English broadcast. This is the only place that you'll find a channel consistently streaming every single game. We turn our cameras off and we just make sure we focus on that gameplay, and we hope that you enjoyed whatever the heck that game and series was too. It was a fun scrap. I enjoyed it. It's kind of fun to see 2 teams which are evenly matched in power, even if they're ones which are struggling. And yeah, we hope that you're enjoying the show. Next series up is JDG versus FPX, so we're moving from Grunge into Ascension. I'm just going to keep calling it the Grunge group at this point. It's just more funny to me.
Do you want to go back?
Yeah, I will do. Folks, we're going to go take a quick break. If you want to hang around and keep watching, keep asking questions, absolutely do so.